Hey everybody, how you doing today? Alright, so I'm beginning to install my power window stuff. I'm starting in the rear because I think that'll be the easiest part to deal with, and also I'm trying to work in a system so I can put things back together again once I complete what I'm doing in that area. So once I get the rear power windows in, the door panels can go back on, the fold down back seat can go in, and then I can lay the rug down permanently in the back and then move to the front. So getting all this stuff to fit is going to be a chore, as I knew. This car originally had roll-up windows, and I know from experience, putting power windows in a manual window car, you have to drill a bunch of holes and make a bunch of stuff fit. Shouldn't be impossible, but it's, you know, a little involved. So I put this side together first, and I watched a bunch of videos. First of all, let me say that there is barely anything online about power windows in these old Camaros and Firebirds. I know very few of them had it, but you think there'd be a little more information available. But I have found very little, bunch of posts on some Camaro forums. I haven't found one video on YouTube about power windows. So this may be the only one out there, who knows? But anyway, the installation videos, they tell you to put in the track. It's this piece right here. I call it the track. And then you put in the glass, and then you put in the regulator. Maybe on a manual roll-up window car, you can do that. Once you get the motor mounted to the regulator, it's pretty cumbersome and it's kind of fat. So on this side, the passenger side, I had put in the track and the glass, and I was putting the regulator in, and I said, you know what? Let me go work on this side to fit the regulator in, because it's open. There's nothing in here. It's hollow. So it'll be a lot easier to manipulate this thing and drill holes, because I know I have to drill some holes. So what I found is it's about 6 1/4 inches vertically from the top bolt hole to the bottom bolt hole, and I'll show you all that when I take it out again. And there's only one set of holes that corresponds with that. And as I said in previous videos, options in these cars had dimples put in so they could drill them easily in the assembly line, Fisher Body, whoever did it. So the dimples are usually your guide. So on this side, you see one here, one here, one here, one there. I started drilling, one there. There was one there I drilled. So what I'm thinking is these 4 are the only 4 that correspond to the bolt holes in the plate for the regulator, power window regulator. And if you look in the, this is the Fisher Body manual. You can see it shows manual windows right here and power windows here. So this is the only picture I really have to go by. So you can see that the motor and the regulator are on maybe a 30 to 45 degree incline. So it's going to sit a little funny. And those bolt holes, again, they kind of correspond with this. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark, drill those 4 holes, and try to bolt this thing in. I mean, if I'm wrong, big deal. It's 4 extra holes in the car. Who cares? No one's ever going to see it anyway. It's not like it's going to weaken the structure of the car. So let me get going on that and see if I can bolt this thing in. Then I'll know what to do on the other side, and hopefully I can figure this out. I mean, once I get this all set up, I may have to take these regulators apart because there's a lot of play in them. I don't know if I need to put a bushing in them or something. I'm sure they never had a bushing, but you know, these are out of a '67 Camaro. I bought these from some guy on eBay. I don't think I have the rear regulators, or if I do, I haven't fallen across them yet, but I could be wrong there too. So let me get cranking on this and see what happens. All right, we're back at it. I drilled the holes, and I did stick this thing in, and it does bolt up to it. But I had to take it back out because I couldn't get the harness to plug into it. And this is something you should look out for when you're playing with power windows in these cars. This is an original motor right here. It's a 766 0243. That's the left-hand side. You can tell because this is the way this thing's positioned. The little ball thing faces you. When you have it like this in the car, it actually goes like this. So let me take that back. It goes like this. I was just trying to show you the part number. It mounts on the car like that. This points toward the back. What I want you to see is I want to plug it in, because I was going to test it in the car, and I know this motor is newer. You can see how shiny it is. You know, this is all cadmium plated, and this is an original, but it would plug in, and this is why. See the plug? One's 90, one is vertical. Well, on the aftermarket newer motors, they look identical except for the plug. They make an adapter harness to plug in and convert it to this. You can do it yourself with a couple of stake-ons and some wire. But if you don't know that, you'll be cursing like I was, saying, why won't this thing plug in? Well, that's why. So the aftermarket motor is clearly labeled L for left. The original motors are stamped. Right there, there's an L for left. And if you look at the like the original part numbers, you can see that this is the right side. This is a 7660242, or this is a 0243. But also, again, if you look on the motor, it's going to be stamped right on it, R. If I can zoom in, or I can pick it up, it's right there. Oh, Jesus. Don't get old. Do yourself a favor. See the R? It's turned the wrong way, but that is most definitely an R. You know, this one's got an L, and this one's got an R. It's dirty, but it's right there. You can see it. See the legs of it? So, there you go. That'll tell you which is which. Unfortunately, Jesus, I can't think of the words. The regulator isn't stamped R and L that I've seen. There is a part number right here, 9091 or 9991, or 1606 if it's upside down. I don't know yet if that corresponds to anything. I mean, this one says 0606, so maybe that is significant. But anyway, I just want to show you that while I'm here. So let me clean this thing up, stick it in the car, and plug it in, and we'll test fire it. And then I got to figure out how to get all the linkage and stuff inside with this thing in there. That ought to be fun. Okay, ready to put this guy in, but I said, you know what? Let's plug it in and let's test fire it before I put it in, rather than put it in there and then find out it doesn't work. Plus, plugging it in inside there is a pain in the rump. So I plugged it in the harness. I ran a ground to it. The battery's hooked up, and it did not work. And then I thought, you know what? I'll bet you it doesn't work because the driver's door, the switch isn't plugged in. And sure enough, that's what it was. So if you use the driver's door switch, it will work. Let's see. Yay! And if you use the one, I just stuck this one in here to, I just had it was a can full of parts. This one works too. Yay! So I can stick it in here now and know that this thing does work. I lube it up a little bit. That gets us closer. One thing I did find out, I had to pull this door apart, pull a panel off it to get to the plug and the wiring harness. And there's no motor in it. The window just goes up and down by hand. It goes down here. If you feel around inside, here's the regulator, bolts right here, these two. And there's a hole. Let me get a light for a second. If you look in here, see that hole right there? I'm assuming that's the hole for the power window motor nose. I call it the nose. So I'm assuming the motor goes in there. If you look at the motors, I'll go get a motor that's not hooked up to anything. All right, there, you got 3 bolt holes, and you got a center that, makes the gear ride straight, keeps it stable. I'm assuming that's what that hole is, because if you look at all the regulators like this one, this is the passenger side. So this one, you can see where the motor would bolt up right here. There's 1, 2, 3 bolt holes. And right in the center, there's a hole that goes through. I'm assuming that's what I'm looking at. So I just gotta bolt the motor in, which ought to be a real party in the door. I mean, luckily you got plenty of room to put your hand in there, so amen to that. So let's get back on the rear motor and get this thing hooked up and bolted in. All right, the motor and regulator were in, they're plugged in. I managed to get that track in. That was a bit of a pain. You have to turn the motor so it's all the way up and then put the track in upside down and take these legs off, these screws. They're like adjustable screws, double-ended studs that you can adjust the windows with. So you take them out, put it in upside down, it just barely fits. Then you turn it right side up, bring it over to the hole so you can thread the screws in, bring it over to here so you can thread that one in, and then stick them in, and then mount them in snugly. Now I'll try to put the glass in. I took that window fuzzy off, the reveal molding and everything, and I had trouble getting the screw out at the front. And look at this. This is, again, what you find with old cars and just not nosing around. It's all bent up right there. I don't know how that happened. I know these quarters were new at one point. So I will try to get that thing out straight again. I'm not sure if it'll help me with the screw at the front of this fuzzy or what. It was really tough getting it out. So let me mess with that a little bit. All right, I gotta get out of here, but I just wanted to prove that this thing does function. So here we go. It's up. It's way out of adjustment, but it does function. Look at me, huh? Yeah, I gotta adjust the hell out of it, but okay, we're getting there. That's how you get there, little step at a time. So thanks for joining me today, and I will get back to work on the other side when I get a minute. Till then, talk to you later.